Hey guys, another video for our Myths About Japan playlist. So recently we made a video appealing for new supporters for our channel, appealing to people to support our channel. Videos like that always result in a lot of suggestions as to what we should do to make our videos and the other things that we do more popular on the internet. We sort of know, we've been doing this for 13 or 14 years. We know what's popular on YouTube and on the internet and on social media in general. And one example of that is what was sent to us this week. One of our viewers sent us a link to a Facebook page and said, what do you think about this? And it was fairly typical Japan myths. It was based on fact usually, and then either exaggerated or just some straight out BS added to it. And this would be an example of that. So Japanese bullet trains are renowned for being on time to the second. Actually, they're not. They are very prompt, are very punctual. They average a delay time of 36 seconds. So, yeah, probably if they'd said to the minute would have been fair enough. But to the second, it makes for more impressive clickbait, and that sort of stuff is popular. However, it's not accurate, is it? So, like a lot of myths about Japan, it's just exaggerated. So here's another one where they just didn't even do the math. So they reckon that this Japanese man saved $1 million through frugally eating, right? Eating simple meals. Then they went on to say that it took him 20 years and he was earning $50,000 a year, right? So if he was earning $50,000 a year for 20 years, that's $1 million. But he would not have been able to spend a cent. He wouldn't have been able to pay his tax, which he would have had to have done, right, which would be about 25–30% on that sort of income. He would have had to pay the compulsory health insurance. He needed somewhere to stay, right? So it's just not possible. It's just not possible. So goodness knows where they got this one from, but they didn't even bother to do the maths before they reposted. And like a lot of these things, they don't care. If they cared to fact check what they actually post, they'd catch that easily, right? But they don't care. All they want is something they know is going to be good click. Oh, this will get clicks. Let's post this, right? Which inevitably it did get clicks. These sort of pages on Facebook, by the way, you know, we've got like 5,000 followers on Facebook. Pages like this have 500,000 or 1 million or 10 million because people love this stuff because they don't think about it. All the comments underneath these pictures are all saying, oh, that's amazing. Isn't Japan amazing? Nobody's calling them on it and saying, wait a moment, wait a moment, I just did the math, that doesn't work. So here's another one. This is actually a myth about a myth because there's this story about this haunted doll and this little girl had a doll and then she died and then the hair on the doll started to grow and it grew teeth and it's an old mythological story. If it was true, now these guys are written like it's true, right? A haunted doll in Japan mysteriously grew human hair and tiny teeth and believed to be possessed. So they're writing it like it's a fact, right? Which if it really was a fact, you would have heard about it long before now, wouldn't you? If a doll started to grow hair and teeth, we would have heard about it by now. So again, obviously not true, obviously a myth. They posted a myth about a myth. Now keep in mind this page calls itself Japan something and it holds out to be expert on Japan, right? Have a look at this. Who can spot the problem with this story? Japan's tuna king, a top fishmonger who prepares tuna with a samurai sword. Right. A samurai sword. Really? So first of all, samurai sword is an odd thing to call a Japanese katana because unless it actually belonged to a samurai, it's not really a samurai sword, is it? It's a Japanese sword or a katana. So anytime you guys see anything on the internet that talks about a samurai sword, unless that thing actually belonged to a samurai, you can assume that the people don't know what they're talking about. So that was the first problem, calling it a samurai sword in the first place. And then the second problem, have a look at it. Right? It's just a big knife. It's a classic Japanese, it's like a giant version of a sushi knife. So we actually showed you one. We have one at the old farmhouse that's a small version of that. So you can look at the handle. The handle's the same. Where it actually attaches to the handle's the same. And then the actual shape of the knife itself. It's a fairly standard cooking knife, but it's just huge. You know, which would have been a good story in itself, wouldn't it? You could accurately report that and say, here's this guy who's amazing with tuna, and check out his big knife, right? Which undoubtedly would be an amazingly good knife. He's using it to cut up tuna. But no, let's call it a samurai sword because that's more impressive. And again, the comments were cringy. You know, read the comments underneath. It's like nobody seemed to notice. It's not a Japanese sword. It's not a sword. It's a big knife. So anytime you hear the word samurai sword, be very doubtful that what you're looking at's real. So again, we know this is the stuff. This is the stuff that gets hundreds of thousands of views and gets lots of clicks. We're just happy. We're just happy to make the videos that we make. We think that our viewership is high in quality, although it's low in quantity. So it's the quality of our viewers that count, not the quantity. Thank goodness. More videos coming soon.